What's up, homies? Zellett coming back at ya with my new series entitled YouTube Noob, where me, a YouTube noob, is going to pass on the information that I have learned as a noob to help other noobs get started. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why should I listen to this guy? He doesn't have a gazillion subscribers and all of these things. Well, that's exactly why you should be listening to me. I didn't start 4 years ago. Everything I'm going to give you is relevant to what's happening right now. Programs you can get right now and steps you can take right now to start building your following. And the first thing that we're going to discuss is creating good thumbnails. Thumbnails are key. Thumbnails are what are going to make people see your video and hopefully click on it. And if your content doesn't suck, they're probably going to subscribe. Content sucking will be covered later. Not really. But let's get started. I've had a few people ask me how I create my thumbnail, so I figure I'd pass it along in layman's terms, because I am not Mr. Technician Guy. So, if you'll notice, I pulled up a program called Paint.net. Guess where you can find Paint.net? Paint.net. That's where you can find it. You can download it. It's free. So, the first thing you do, or that I do, and I will walk you through this because there is a learning curve, and it took me a while to learn all the finer points of Paint.net. It's free, it's just like Photoshop, only you're not stupid because you didn't spend a bunch of money. So the first thing you want to do is start with a good base. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of thumbnails that I make, and I'm going to walk you through it, but I'm going to do it quickly so you can see it's fairly easy. So the base, the background, that's the key. So we'll start with a nice Mortal Kombat. So we're going to drag this flame picture right onto here. Now what we want to do is we want to open it. We don't want to add a layer because we don't want it to have dual layers when one of the layers doesn't actually have anything on it. So, open image. That gives us this, okay? Now, the second thing we want to do is we want to crop this thing to make it good for YouTube. See, it's 1600 by 1200. We want more of a widescreen appeal. So, to crop, what we do is we go here, rectangular select. We come to the top corner, and we are going to make this thing more widescreen friendly. And then we're going to come here, crop to selection. Now that still seems almost a bit large for me, 1500. 1100 to 1200 is perfect for YouTube thumbnails as far as width. So we are going to resize this to 1200. It will automatically adjust your height. So there we go. Now we've got a nice YouTube size thumbnail. Anything more than 1200 and you're likely to get cut off at the tops and the bottoms. So we've got our base. This is what we're going to start with. Next, we add layers. Now, what you want to do is you want to try and get transparent images. If you can't, I will show you how to clip them and make them transparent on here. That will be on another thumbnail. But for now, we've got transparent images. Go to Google, type in flame, get flame. Type in Mortal Kombat logo transparent, get Mortal Kombat logo transparent. Drag this sucker on here. Now you want to add a layer. Add layer. See what it does? We've got this. Now, to position this, we click this. Move selected pixels. Click that. You'll notice it's got little lines and whatever around it. You can drag it. It's got the little arrows. You can, on the side, if you wanted to tilt it, tip it, whatever. We're going to keep it straight. Now, what we want to do is maybe drag this thing right over here. And we're going to shrink it a little bit. So we can shrink these little things just like that. We are going to put that maybe in the top corner right up here. Next, we want our specific Mortal Kombatant. I have chosen Jade because of her wondrous rack. Sorry, chicks, not meaning to be sexist, but Jade is hot. So we are, again, watch what happens when I do this now. Add layer. Nothing happens. Why? You can only have 2 layers open at a time. So if you are struggling with Paint.net, adding layers, keep in mind, 2 layers at a time. So what you need to do before you can add your next layer, flatten. Flattened image. Now this is part of this. So make sure this is positioned where you want it because you are not going to be able to move it from this point out. So we are going to take Boobs McGee and put her in here. Add layer. Boom. There she is. Once again, it's already on move selected pixels. So we will move her. Now, if you notice, it cuts her off on the sides here and at the bottom here. So we want her positioned, move out of the way, colors. We want her positioned down here in the corner. Doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to crop once again. And I will tell you why shortly. But we're going to move her down here maybe shrink her just a little bit. There we go. And now we've got our combatant added with our Mortal Kombat logo. The next thing we want to do is crop. And the reason we want to crop is because Paint.net, there's probably a reason for it, some techno yada yada that you can do, don't care. What we want to do is add text. And you cannot add text to something that has already had layers added to it without cropping it for some reason. And that is the ultimate fail. So what we want to do is select this. Do you see this? Rectangular select. Once again. So we are going to come up here. We are going to drag this thing down and crop to selection one more time. The purpose of that is to allow us to add text, because for some reason it just doesn't want to add text. So what we can do here is now we can add some nice vibrant text. What you want to do with text is add a color that contrasts with whatever your background is. My background is orange, which means purple and blue are going to contrast the best. So I will click blue. I will come up here and I'm going to go to Arial. Arial is nice, blocky. I like it. So we will add it and go maybe, let's see here. What do we have? We'll go with all caps. Arcade. So we can type arcade. And then put that right here, maybe. We'll do that right there. And then finish. We want to finish because we want to be able to maneuver each of our lines separately. And then we will add ladder. And then this little bugger right here allows us to move these things. So we can go bang. So now we've got Jade, Arcade Ladder, Mortal Kombat. Now what we will do is we will come down maybe right in the middle here. And we will make it nice and big. 108. And go number 1. Maybe we can put that in purple. Does red hold out? Red holds out pretty good. We'll make it even bigger. We'll go with 144. So now, this tells people that you have a Jade battle on Arcade Ladder of Mortal Kombat Complete Edition, and this is the first video in your series. Now, doesn't that look nice and presentable to people, rather than just having the general screenshot that it's going to give you? This is what you want your thumbnails to look like. You want them to grab attention. Okay, so we're going to go with the next on our list here. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of different variations. The next one requires a bit of cropping. That's why I chose it. So, we are going to take our Alan Wake thumbnail for this signal that we've been playing. So, we'll drag that in here. Now, we don't want to add a layer because we don't want to add a giant eye to our Mortal Kombat. So what we are going to do is open the image. Now, if you'll notice, this image is fairly small. It is 610 by 341. So we want to resize this sucker. Resize. We're going to put it at 1150. It might be too big. We'll go with 1100. That gives us a big, creepy eye staring at us. Now, there is no one that is going to scroll by your video and see this giant eye and not go, why the hell is that guy staring at me? I'm going to click on it. So, what we want to do now is add a little bit of flair to this thing. So, we're going to add Alan Wake. Drag him in here. Now we want to add a layer because we're dragging it to this image. Now, you'll notice this has a white background. That's okay. First thing we want to do is get it into position. So I like to put this right down here. And then I like to stretch it. So it's a little bit bigger, a little bit more eye-catching, no pun intended. And now what we want to do here is get rid of that white background. And you can do this with Paint.net using this tool here, Magic Wand. It's frickin' magic, people. So you select Magic Wand. You click into the background or the color or area that you want to get rid of. You'll notice it highlights everything except for the letters. What you want to do is then come up here and cut. Now that you have cut that portion, you'll notice it still looks a bit sloppy. There's a little bit of trim there. We can use this little wand to help us get rid of some of this trim. Now, this wand can be tricky. What I mean is if you click into an area of a picture And there are other areas of the picture that have the exact same tone as what you're trying to get rid of. It is going to highlight them as well, and when you go to cut, it will cut them out. So the wand is not the most precise tool, but it works pretty well. So as you can see, what we're doing is we're clicking all of these areas where we've got extra little trim. We're trimming the fat is what we're doing. We're getting our we're getting ready to toss this sucker on the grill, essentially. So bear with me, and we will trim all of these little doodads here and get it nice and pretty looking. There we go. You can see how that highlights all around here. That means there's a bunch of stuff all around here that matches that color. There we go, right in the middle of that K there. Boom. Trim it up. Right in the middle of this W. Trim it up. And this is what we're left with. Not bad, right? Now what we want to do is we want to flatten. There we go. So we've got one big image. And then once again, we want to add text. So to do that, we will need to crop it for some, I don't know, techno-jargony reason. So we're going to select rectangular select. We are going to start up here. And we are going to drag this down here. And we will crop to selection. Boom. Now, what we're going to be able to do here is add some text. So we've got our giant creepy eye. We've got our Alan Wake. Now we're going to add some text. That looks awfully large. What I like to do with Alan Wake stuff is add something that's bright, looks like a light maybe, because there's a big underlying theme of light in this game. So here we will go number 1. Big, bright, bold, right? And then finish. Now what we're going to do over here, because this was actually part of the DLC called the signal. So I will make this a little bit less. Maybe 48. We'll see what 48 looks like. And then go we'll take that a little bit larger. 55. 60. Okay, right there. Finish. And then beneath it, signal. Now we use our little doohickey here to maneuver this thing. And voila. What you've got is a couple of nice thumbnails. Now, you want to save these thumbnails appropriately so that you can use them on YouTube. So we'll start with this one because we're right here. We are going to save as. You'll notice it is in a PNG, whatever. I like to save everything as a JPEG because JPEGs are easily recognizable by your, whatever, YouTube. And then I also like to, if we used a base, which we did, we use Alan Wake I right here as our base. If we want to use that again, we don't want to overwrite that. So Alan Wake I, 1. We add a 1. Bang. We've got one usable thumbnail. Done. We're going to come back here. And then somehow that got really small. See, what happened is I don't think I clicked finish, and now it, from the other thing that I was doing, boom, we'll jump that right back up, move it right back into the middle there, click finish, and then what we're going to do is save this one as well. So we will save as. Now this is a paint.net image, which absolutely will not download as a YouTube thumbnail. So, once again, JPEG. And then we'll call it MK Jade. And we will save that. Boom. What it's going to ask us here in a second is we need to flatten. Do you want to flatten? Yes, of course. JPEGs have to be flat. You'll notice we have layers here. Can't have layers. Flatten. Bang. Done. Thumbnails. Your thumbnails are now on point. So this will help increase traffic to your site if you have good-looking thumbnails. I can go through a couple of more, but it's all basically the same stuff. Find your base. Find some transparent images on Google. Whatever you're looking for, most games will have pictures. They will also have transparent images. You can piece them together. Look, this is just some fire. The fire has not a damn thing to do with Mortal Kombat, but it looks relevant because of the, context and, gameplay. You're in the Netherrealm a lot. There's fire, yada, yada, yada. But it looks good. Same with this one here. Big-ass eye. It's a theme throughout the game. You keep running into these televisions that have these big-ass eyes staring at you. So people are going to see this. They're going to see the giant eye, Alan Wake, #1, the signal. Hey, that looks appealing. That's what I'm looking for. I want to click on that. Much better than just the stock footage that YouTube is going to give you. So make sure you have your base. Make sure you get your transparent images. Use this button to move your transparent images. This button to crop things. Images is used a lot to either resize or to flatten. And then the magic wand if you need it. And make sure if you can't get text on there, try to crop it and then put your text on there. If you can't get images onto there, make sure you flatten it because you can only have 2 layers. Paint.net is free. There are some minor little tweaks and bugs to it, but it works overall very well. So if you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. If you have any questions, I can probably help you out. Look for my next YouTube Noob. I will be talking about how to put your face overlaid onto your game footage so that you can have a face cam on your footage without being a super techno video editing wizard. Okay? Other than that, Darth Zellett is out. Good luck on making your thumbnails. Check out Paint.net. I will put a link to Paint.net in my description. And other than that, subscribe, follow along, and I will see you guys on the next video. Darth Zellett is out.